I was coming back from somewhere in London recently, and we parked in Westfield because we live outside of London. So we drove into Westfield, got the tube to where we were going, and we parked there. It was a Sunday. And I've been eyeing up the Apple Watch Ultra ever since it came out. Now, I'm not the advanced sporty type. So for me, why would I consider buying an Apple Watch Ultra? And what does it feel like when you've got one? Well, let's talk about the story. Now, like many people that probably buy Apple stuff, we know it's A, really expensive, and B, really expensive, right? So the Apple Watch Ultra in the UK is about £890. In the US, it's $799, but obviously that doesn't include tax, whereas in the UK it includes tax. So that's the sort of pricing for it, if that makes sense. So I was coming back from my destination, and me being me, I thought, you know what? I really like the look of this, and I'd like to buy it. So I set myself a challenge. It was about 5:15 p.m. So I said, if the shops are still open, I'll go in and ask if they have it in stock. And if they have it in stock, then I'll buy it, but only if they have it in stock in that specific Apple store. So it's me letting fate decide, right? It's like if fate lets me buy this device, fate lets me buy this device. If it's not in stock, I'll leave it alone and I'll stop talking about it. Unfortunately for my bank account, fate was correct and I bought the Apple Watch Ultra. It's here. It's also on my wrist already, right? So I've got a few thoughts that I want to talk through on the YouTube channel. The first one is, this is the first Apple Watch that I've ever owned, and I've owned a Series 3 and a Series 7, that I genuinely believe is a watch. This is the first Apple Watch that's a watch, right? Now, what do I mean by that? What am I actually talking about? Well, in my experience of having the Series 3 and the Series 7, both great Apple Watches, they don't feel like a watch, right? Like, I remember the days where I would go out and buy an actual watch, one with a battery in that told the time, okay? And it would feel like a watch, as in like it felt a bit metallic, it felt a bit heavy, it felt like something that goes on your wrist. It feels like a watch, right? Whereas the Apple Watches themselves, they kind of feel like a little bit like a gizmo, a gadget. The same thing with my iPod Nano. In fact, I actually have it here. Excuse me. I have it on my display. This iPod Nano. I had this iPod Nano, and there was a phase where you could buy a band to have this as a watch, right? Now, the Apple Watches have felt exactly the same as wearing an iPod Nano on your wrist, right? Exactly the same. In fact, if I put it next to the Apple Watch Ultra, there's actually not much difference, right? But what I'm trying to kind of talk about is that they've always felt like some sort of piece of technology, right? Some sort of piece of tech that you put on your wrist. This, on the other hand, this Apple Watch Ultra, it feels bulky enough and stylish enough and looks nice enough to be considered a watch. And I don't know how I can translate this into the feeling that I experienced when I put it on for the first time, but it genuinely feels like, when you put a watch on and it's a bit bulky and it's all nice, it feels like that, if that makes sense. Do I need all the features of the Apple Watch Ultra? No. It's quite simple. Do I go scuba diving? No. Do I do advanced sports? No. Do I lift weights in the gym? Yes. Do I go and play tennis and other sports? Yes. Do I like tracking that? Yes. So for me, if I click this button, I can now go into workout mode and select the workout I'd like to do, which is the action button on the left-hand side. But do I need all the features? No, absolutely. We've already agreed that I do not need all the features of the Apple Watch Ultra. So why did I buy the Apple Watch Ultra? What is it about it that made me buy it? Now, for this one, I thought about this quite a lot in my own brain. I was thinking, why did I go and buy the Apple Watch Ultra? What was it about the Apple Watch Ultra that made me walk down to the Apple Store, check that it was open, hope that it had it in stock, and let fate decide? It was the style of it, right? So, here you go. Here it is. I'll do some close-ups, but this is the Apple Watch Ultra. But on my wrist, it looks like a watch. It feels like a watch. It looks like a watch. It feels like a watch. It looks like a watch. And I tell you one thing, right? I work in an office block. I've gone into the office block since buying the Ultra, and people have actually said to me, I really like your watch. Where did you get your watch from? They just don't know it's the Apple Watch, right? But they're just like, oh, I really like the look of that. That looks really cool. I've actually had 2 colleagues of mine actually say that to me, right? So that's the thing, really, isn't it? That's the thing. It's stylish. It looks nice. And it made me think. It made me think about something. Because people would go, well, why did you spend £900 in the UK or £890 in the UK or $799 in the US on an Apple Watch, right? That you don't need to use all the features for and everything. Well, let's think about all the other watches. Let's think about a Rolex, right? Think about a Rolex here. A Rolex tells the time. That's all it does. It tells the time. The features are the same for every watch, okay? So it's the kind of the same with the Apple Watch now, I would say. The features are the same. The features in my Apple Watch Series 7 and the features in this, the things I need it to do are the same. But actually, I like the style of this, so I chose to buy it as a style item rather than a actual practical item. Now, I'm going to benefit from some of the features. I'm already benefiting from some of them, like the fact that I haven't charged this in 3 days, right? That's fantastic. It's brilliant. It's fantastic that I haven't charged it in 3 days, because we all know the problem with Apple Watches is that Series 7, 3, whatever, you have to charge it every night. It's always a bit of a pain. It always runs out of battery, blah, 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 right? But with this, 3 days battery life is pretty impressive. I'm also going to benefit from the fact that it's more rugged. So it's going to scratch less and all that kind of stuff. Every single Apple Watch I've ever bought in my life has scratched the screen within 1 week. It's been a big scratch or something along the top of the screen. Now, it's probably user error. It's probably me running around, falling over on the tennis court or, hitting it too hard at the gym. But I've always noticed big scratches on it. I've had this now for 2 weeks and there's no scratches on it. Oh my God. Isn't that fantastic? So there are benefits of the Ultra, but it's more of a style thing for anyone that's not into the market. And you know what? As a marketeer myself, as someone that is in marketing, I think to myself, why did Apple market it that way? Like, they could have marketed it as like that bit as a side bit, but they could have marketed it as a style element, because it really is quite nice. It really is quite nice to look at. So I'm very confused as to why they went down this very niche path when actually everybody likes the style of it. My father has one, and he's not sporty at all, and he's got one. Why? Because he likes the style of it, right? He likes the Apple Watch experience, and he likes the style of the Ultra. 2 + 2 = 4. So there's been a few, well, my English has gone out the window, but there have been a few thoughts on the Apple Watch Ultra. I try to keep my videos very sort of minimalistic, not much editing, and just a bit of a chat around specific products. The next video I'm going to do is on my Apple headphone lineup, because I've got the AirPods Max. Not sure if they're in frame, but they're over there. You can just grab them actually. I've got my AirPods Max, which I haven't done a video on. I've also got HomePod Mini, HomePod, and I've also got the AirPods Pros, the new 2nd generation, and other things on those sort of lines, right? So I'm going to do a video on that next as well. Well, thank you for watching. I hope that's given you some insight into the Apple Watch Ultra, and also some insight into just generally why people buy it, because it's a style thing rather than anything else. And I'll catch you in the next video. Thanks very much.